You know what I found interesting? Nobody really talks about what happens after you've been strong for so long. Like, what do you do when you don't have to survive anymore? Let's talk about it. Hey, it's me, Lo, and welcome back to Lo Unmuted. This is season one, Unmuted, a return to self, where I share my journey of becoming. It's the small, quiet decisions, the lessons, and the freedom that comes from aligning your life with who you truly are. So, if you're ready to step away from what no longer serves you and live life on your own terms, well, you're in the right place. So, listeners, for most of my life, strength wasn't an option. Strength was survival, strength was armor, and softness, well, softness felt dangerous. But now I'm in a season where I don't have to live like that anymore. And I'm learning how to soften, not because I'm weak, but because I don't need to be in survival mode anymore. I've been thinking about all the times I had to push through, grit my teeth, and just get it done. Moving to new places, navigating relationships, building a career while raising my kids. I was always on alert, always ready. I didn't just survive, I conquered. But the truth, that constant state of survival left me so tense, hyper aware, exhausted in ways that success couldn't fix. And if I'm being honest, it also gave me a bit of an edge, a masculine edge. The way I spoke, the way I delivered, the way I showed up, especially in my professional spaces. I came across as very direct, firm, structured, and sometimes, if I'm being honest, a little rough around the edges. And I didn't really see it until one day I was sitting with someone I was dating, and we were talking about a conference I had attended, just a regular conversation. And in the middle of it, he made a comment, not a harsh comment, but an honest one. And what I took from it was this: I had a bit of a rough edge, and I could use more finesse. You hear that word? Finesse. I held on to that comment, but not in a bad way. I just let it stay with me in the forefront of my mind because I realized he wasn't talking about how I looked. I already knew how I presented myself: power suits, heels, jewelry. Oh, I was very polished. But internally, I was leading with strength all the time. So I started paying attention, not to change who I was, but to refine who I was. I paid attention to my tone, my delivery, my presence, because I wanted my inner world to match the femininity I was already expressing on the outside. I wanted to be strong and soft, clear and graceful, grounded, but not guarded. And what's so interesting about this story is the shift that I had made didn't go unnoticed. You see, the following year, I joined a sorority. And if you know anything about that process, you know that you are given a name. And my name is Finesse. When I received the name, I remember thinking, wow, because somewhere between that moment of awareness that he had given me and the woman that I was becoming, I had actually embodied it. And around that same time, I started noticing something else. Moments where I didn't have to be on, a quiet morning, a walk without rushing, doing simple things without urgency. And at first, even that felt unfamiliar. It was like I was letting my guard down too much. But the more I allowed it, the more I realized softness isn't weakness, it's safety. The lesson that I learned from this was living without survival mode isn't about losing your strength. It's about no longer needing to lead with it in every moment. It's choosing when to push and when to soften. It's refinement, it's evolution, it's power, but with ease. So, listeners, if strength has been your default, this is what I want you to try. I want you to pause on purpose. I want you to listen to yourself, not just what you say, but how you say it. Notice where you're still bracing, still pushing, still leading with force, and ask yourself, can I soften here and still fully be myself? Because you're not becoming someone new. What you're actually doing is refining who you already are. So, listeners, here's what I want you to sit with. If you're no longer in survivor mode, why are you still moving like you are? And what would your life actually feel like if you allowed yourself to soften? I want to thank you for spending this time with me. And as always, I'll see you right here next Wednesday. And until then, stay unmuted.